Well, hello everybody. How you guys doing? This is Dr. Carmen Bryant. This is Car Chronicles. You guys ready? Well, let's do this. So I know you guys have been watching the news, and I don't talk about people individually. I don't talk about situations, but one thing that I do talk about is, the victims or survivors of narcissist abuse or situations, trauma, things like that. And one thing I can't stand is I cannot stand victim shaming and victim blaming. Victim shaming or victim blaming is kind of, you can kind of use those two at the same time, or is a form of gaslighting. And you notice that in the court systems, I had to go through the courts before concerning a case that I was working on. But one of the things, that is practiced, and you notice, is that, the victim, it's not the situation that has taken place, the assaults, the abuse, but they get into the court, and the victim is re-victimized. And the sad part about it is you'll hear things like, you should have known better. Why did you stay so long? If you knew this was going on, why didn't you try to escape? You shouldn't have dressed that way. Why did you wait 10, 20, 15 years before you finally said something? Why did you wait until that person went to jail for you to finally speak up? Shoot, they were scared. That's why, and they felt safe once the person was locked up, because, if you're dealing with a narcissist, especially a malignant narcissist, you don't know what's being said in private. It's not possible. And even for men, to have been assaulted in every way, not just physically assaulted, but, that type of assaulted, and it's the shame thing. First of all, some people don't speak up because they're completely ashamed and humiliated, because, as a perpetrator, that's what domestic violence is: power and control. And when you're dealing with an assault, especially that type that we're talking about, especially with men, because it happens to women, but especially men, because it happens to men as well, it's the whole, the shame, the embarrassment, I'm not gay, I'm not a homosexual, I'm not a lesbian, however the assault may have happened by a same-sex individual. And then the shame and the embarrassment, or the blackmail, the possible blackmailing, or exposing you, or, and you're walking around with this secret, and you don't know what to do with this secret. You're afraid to tell anybody because people don't believe you. Or, when it's the perpetrator, they may have a large following, they may have a lot of friends, they may be high in position, they may be in a position of power. And so, that's where the flying monkeys come in. And then when you go into the court systems, when you're dealing with criminal defense lawyers, their whole thing is to get the person that they're representing off the hook, to get a lesser conviction, to get them out of jail, to get them, dismissed of charges. And the whole thing, when you go into a court system, is you come in not with emotions, you're coming in with facts. And some of the facts are, was the case handled legally? Were all legal procedures handled appropriately? Even when the victim comes on the stand to tell their story, to tell what has happened, now it's a matter of trying to discredit the victim. Are you telling the truth? Were you really there? Did this really happen? So you can see that the person is being gaslighted. The truth. What has happened to you. You're telling what has happened, but now is your word against theirs. Or it may have been one or two people that were there, and now it's your word against theirs. What happened. No different than those of you that are coming out of narcissist abuse, where you won't tell the story because of the fact that you're afraid that people are not going to believe you. But now you see that we have a community of people that have survived narcissist abuse, and it's at every level. Some of you are dealing with relationship levels, some of you dealing with parental levels, some of you dealing with the gaslighting and the situations on the workforce, in the work arena, in your career fields, with bosses and managers and directors. And then those of you are dealing with it on a higher level in the entertainment industry, in the in the political arena. And when you have a lot of flying monkeys, you know that money pays. Some people sell their soul for money, and money will pay for silence. Money will pay for protection. Money, and then the threats of harm, bodily harm, or even unaliving someone will cause people to be quiet. And so you have these people that are victim blaming and victim shaming. Well, you shouldn't have been in that situation. Why were you there in a dangerous situation, and you knew it was dangerous, and why did you stay so long? There is something that's called trauma bonding. There is something that's called Stockholm syndrome, and we talk about it all the time, and it applies. But you're watching certain things happen on a public forum, and the things that you're learning when you're dealing with a narcissist is the things that you're witnessing, within the court system. That was loud. But you're watching in a court system, you're watching happen, on a public platform, and it just makes people more afraid. And then to watch people or listen to people blame victims, that's not possible. I know he or she is lying. That's a lie. This is not true, because this person has a great reputation. They did a lot for the country. They did a lot for the city. They did a lot for their communities. Don't matter what they've done. People do have secret lives. And then on top of that, to say, why would you wait this many years for you to finally come out and say something? Because some people, you don't know how people have been threatened behind closed doors. And that is at every level of abuse. You don't know what has been said. You don't know how they have been threatened. And I told you guys before, a lot of times when you're dealing with the higher echelons, when you're dealing with a lot of money, there's a lot of things that can happen to people. People come up missing, and people are threatened, and their homes are threatened, and things have happened, and you wonder why people are afraid to speak up, because people won't believe you. People think that you're nobody, and why would they get involved with a nobody? And your self-esteem is now affected. Your mental health is affected. Now you're going out in public, and people recognize you from, media, or recognize you from newspaper, or recognize you from court, and their people come after you because you're attacking our loved one. You're attacking someone that we love, as if that person can't do anything. How do you think narcissists get away with stuff? Because they're loved in the public eye. They're loved, in the media. They're loved in the entertainment industry. They're loved in the job. They're loved in the position that they hold. They're loved in the political arena. They're loved. And you have to question, the people that love you don't know anything privately about you, because you're wearing a mask. And you're not going to let that mask drop in front of them, because of the fact that you have to maintain a status. That's why the average narcissist, falls apart when they're exposed. They become suicidal. They become, all that right there. And keep in mind, this is for educational purpose, psychological and educational purposes only. If you do feel like you want to harm yourself, if you feel like you are in a crisis, get off this video and go to your local ER. Let them know that you are in a crisis, or pick up the phone and call 988 so that you can get some assistance. Don't be ashamed to reach out and get assistance, and don't be ashamed, that the whole thing is safety as well. Because if you have been why you think children are afraid to speak up? Because they have been threatened. Why do you think adults are afraid to speak up? Because you're seeing it play itself out, and then wonder why people wait so many years, or when laws were in place, or when there's a TikTok trend, or there's a, the Me Too movement, or, what is some of the ones, surviving ... because of the fact that when you have a lot of victims come out and start speaking up, and you have people that are coming out, and lawyers that are defending, these victims, there's a feeling of safety, because now all eyes are on the perpetrator, so there's a feeling of safety. And sometimes when people are locked up, it's a feeling of safety that this person can't threaten me, or this person can't hunt me down, or this person can't look for me, because you do have flying monkeys that are on payrolls. You do have flying monkeys that are out there to do anything to make sure that they protect their God. They protect their king or queen. They protect, those people that have been injuring or wounding them. And a narcissist knows that if I can get a lot of people and get them into what I'm doing, then I can hold that against them, and they won't speak up against me, because they'll defend me, because if I go down, they're going down. And a narcissist a lot of times is like that. If I go down, you're going down, and I'm going to make sure that everybody knows about you too. We going down together. And so there are a lot of people that'll protect their image and their families by protecting that narcissist. But one thing that I cannot stand victim blaming and victim shaming. I've experienced it too, and I know a lot of you have experienced it as well. We need to stop this, and we need to do more to advocate for people that are coming out of these situations. You're not alone, and it wasn't your fault.